With us now is Brent Stewart. He is the founder of Stewart Law Offices. We're in Beaufort, South Carolina, and we're talking about workers' comp. So I did my homework, and I want you to respond to this. So an attorney might be involved in workers' comp if your claim is denied, you don't get all the benefits you deserve, your injury is serious or permanent, there's a settlement offer, you're being retaliated against, or a third-party liability.
Yes, yes. So all of those, if your claim is denied, it's always good to talk to an attorney. Most of the time, I believe an attorney can get the claim accepted. I've seen a lot of bogus denials, but to actually get to that answer, you need to call an attorney, sit down, and talk over what happened. You have to have a work-related accident. Idiopathic injuries, which means if I'm just walking across the hall and my knee gives out, that is not a work-related accident.
I was wondering.
If you stumble so slightly, that is a work-related accident. If you're picking up a box and stumble and tweak your back, that is a work-related accident.
Okay, you're picking up the box for work.
Yes,
right.
Because negligence is not needed under workers' comp. You just need to have something that fits work-related accident, and it can be as small as a stumble. So that's why you want to talk to a lawyer, because I think a lot of people think, well, this is not a work-related accident. I just stumbled on the carpet. How is that? But it is. And that's how the system is set up, so that people injured on the job get their medicals paid and their wages and aren't put in a hole immediately by something that happened at work.
And so you go through the same initial consultation and all of that? For
a denied case, yes. And then another issue, so then even if the case is accepted, the next thing is, are you getting the treatment that's needed? A lot of companies, because the companies get to dictate the treatment, they pick where you go. So they can send you to a company that does a lot of workers' comp work, and they may be more apt to say, oh, you'll be better in 4 weeks, and hoping that the claim goes away. But if you keep hurting and the employer won't get you back to the doctor saying, hey, listen, this initial doctor released you, it might be good to talk to an attorney then, because we can either say, hey, either get them a second opinion, or I, as a lawyer, will pay to get an independent medical examination that will say whether you need treatment or not. And if they still deny with the independent medical, then we can file it for a hearing and have one of the commissioners hear all the evidence and fairly decide whether you need treatment or not.
Does it ever go to court?
Workers' comp goes to court a lot. Lately, mediation has become very prevalent in the state. Okay. And at first, I think lawyers my age were kind of, I don't know if we need mediation, but it has definitely helped first of all, make the dockets not be as crowded. It's easier to get a case that needs to be heard. Some cases, you're just not going to get the two minds to come together, and that's when you got to have a judge do that. But mediation sits down and kind of slows the process down and hopefully gets to a conclusion that everybody's kind of happy with and lets it either progress or get the matter settled.
I would think sometimes for an employee, it would be awkward to go ahead and tell their employer that they've been hurt because they don't want to hurt their potential promotion and all of that. Does that ever enter into it?
It always enters into it, and it's after all these years, it's just on a person-to-person situation. Like, no boss wants to hear that they're going to get sued for workers' compensation. And I use the word sue, but it's really not suing in my mind. But you have to handle it. And I think what I would tell bosses, and I'm one of them, that when somebody's hurt, if you go at it and attack them and make a bigger mess out of it, you might end up paying more than you would have if you just say, hey, listen, I want this taken care of. So I had an employee injured on the job in a car wreck, and it was funny, so I do a lot of work against the defense attorneys, and I called up the defense attorney and said, hey, listen, you're underpaying this person, my employee. And so they thought that I was calling for one of my clients and kind of actually lowered the offer. And I was like, no, I want them treated fairly because they're a good employee and I want them treated fairly. And that employee has stayed with me all these years. And the minimum amount of money didn't affect my rates all that much. So sometimes this is better, this isn't for the injured party, for the other side, just treat the people how you would want your mother treated, your daughter treated.
I love it.
And it may come back to be easier on you, actually.
Communication, communication, communication.
Communication,
And
communication.
treating others the way you want to be treated.
That is very important, and I try to do it. No, I'm not saying I always do it exactly right, but I do try.
But that's a core of Stewart
Yes.
Law Offices. Thank you, Brent, for
Thank
this
you.
interview today. Again, Brent Stewart with Stewart Law Offices right here in Beaufort, South Carolina.
Thank you.